It was a hot, dusty afternoon in the region of Samaria. The sun hung high in the sky, harsh, relentless. Most people stayed indoors to escape the burning heat. But there was one figure walking the dusty path, a weary traveler named Jesus. The scriptures say, he had to pass through Samaria. Now, most Jews wouldn't take this route. They went out of their way to avoid Samaria entirely because Samaritans and Jews had been bitter enemies for centuries. The wounds ran deep, political, racial, and religious divides that seemed impossible to heal. But Jesus? He had to go through Samaria not because of convenience, but because of divine purpose. He was on a mission of grace. He came to a town called Sychar, near the land that their ancestor Jacob had given to his son Joseph. And there stood Jacob's well, a well with centuries of history, a source of life for generations. Tired from his journey, Jesus sat by the well, alone. Then, as the sun scorched the land, a Samaritan woman approached the well at noon, the hottest part of the day. Now this was unusual. Women usually came together in the cool of the morning or evening. But this woman? She came alone, avoiding the stares and whispers of others. Why? Her life was complicated. Scandal surrounded her. She was a woman marked by brokenness. As she approaches, Jesus does the unthinkable. He speaks to her. Jesus says, "Give me a drink." This was shocking. You see, in those days, men didn't speak to women publicly like this, especially not to a Samaritan woman. A Jewish man, a respected rabbi, was now speaking to her. Startled, the woman responds, "Woman, how is it that you, a Jew, ask for a drink from me, a woman of Samaria?" Jews had no dealings with Samaritans. Their religious and racial division was centuries old. Samaritans were viewed as half-breeds, people who had intermarried with foreigners and twisted the Jewish faith. The Jews believed that salvation was for them alone. And yet, here was Jesus crossing every boundary of culture, race, and gender. Jesus looks at her with compassion and says, "If you knew the gift of God, and who it is that's asking you for a drink, you would have asked him, and he would have given you living water." She stares at him, confused. "Sir, you have no bucket, and the well is deep. Where do you get that living water?" Then she clings to what she knows, the pride of her people. She says, "Are you greater than our father Jacob? He gave us this well. He drank from it himself, along with his sons and his livestock. Do you see it?" She's holding tightly to tradition, her pride in ancestry, in Jacob, the patriarch who dug the well. She's clinging to her religious background, thinking it defines her worth. But that's the trap many fall into today, trusting in tradition and religious heritage rather than seeing the one standing right in front of them. Jesus answers her, "Everyone who drinks from this well will be thirsty again. But whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. In fact, it will become a spring of water welling up to eternal life." Her curiosity awakens. "Sir, give me this water, so I won't get thirsty and have to keep coming here." But now comes a tender moment where grace meets truth. Jesus gently says, "Go, call your husband, and come back." She freezes. "I have no husband." Jesus, with full knowledge, replies, "You're right. You've had 5 husbands, and the man you're with now isn't your husband." Here's the beauty of grace. Jesus didn't shame her, but he didn't ignore her sin either. He exposed it not to condemn but to heal. He offered her a chance to face her brokenness and receive real freedom. Uncomfortable, she quickly changes the subject, deflecting the conversation to religious debates. "Sir, I see you're a prophet. Our ancestors worshipped on this mountain, but you Jews say Jerusalem is the place to worship. How often do we do the same? When conviction hits, we shift the focus to religious debates, churches, denominations, rules, anything but the real issue, the heart." Jesus answers her, revealing a truth that changes everything. "Woman, believe me. A time is coming when you will worship the Father neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem. The true worshippers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. Here's the truth: Jesus is greater than Jacob. He's greater than traditions, greater than religion, greater than our past failures. This woman came looking for water to quench her physical thirst, but Jesus offered her eternal satisfaction, living water that becomes a wellspring of hope, joy, and peace inside the heart. She had been trapped by sin, shame, tradition, religious debates. Yet Jesus saw her, loved her, and offered her a new beginning. This isn't just her story, it's ours too. Jesus seeks us before we seek him. He crosses every barrier to meet us. Only Christ can satisfy the soul, no well of this world can quench our thirst. Grace confronts our sin to heal us, he exposes sin not to condemn but to restore. True worship is heart-deep, spirit-led, it's not about places or rituals, but about truth and intimacy with God. Today, that same invitation remains. Will you keep drinking from empty wells? Or will you ask him for living water, water that satisfies forever? The choice is yours. If this story touched your heart, pause for a moment today and ask yourself, what wells have I been drinking from? Have I truly received the living water that Jesus offers? Right now, wherever you are, you can come to him. You don't need a temple, a church building, or a perfect past, just a willing heart. Pray with honesty. Ask him for that living water. Let him satisfy your deepest thirst. And if this message stirred something in you, share it with a friend who needs hope. Leave a comment, I choose the living water. Subscribe or follow for more soul-refreshing truth.